Breaking news, Vikings fans out of Minnesota, you won't believe this move. The Vikings just made bringing back a familiar face in a shocking turn of events. This veteran linebacker is returning home and fans are buzzing about what this means for the team's defense. Stay tuned because this could change everything for the upcoming season. Now let's get into the details. The Minnesota Vikings continue to make waves in free agency, despite already spending nearly $250 million in the first 48 hours of the market. The team still has around $39 million left to use, and they're making strategic moves to strengthen their roster. Their latest acquisition comes from a divisional rival as the Vikings have officially agreed to terms with former Green Bay Packers linebacker Eric Wilson, according to Alec Lewis of The Athletic. Wilson, who played over 500 defensive snaps for Green Bay last season, is set to return to Minnesota, where he first began his NFL journey as an undrafted free agent out of Cincinnati. In 2017, Wilson initially joined the Vikings as a special teams contributor before gradually earning more defensive reps behind Pro Bowl linebackers Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. When Barr suffered a season-ending injury in 2020, Wilson stepped into a starting role and delivered an outstanding performance, finishing the season with 122 total tackles, 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, a forced fumble, and 3 interceptions. His breakout year made him a key figure on Minnesota's defense before he moved on to other teams in search of a bigger role. After leaving the Vikings, Wilson signed with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2021 and was named a Week 1 starter. However, his time in Philadelphia was short-lived as he was waived midway through the season. He then finished the year with the Houston Texans before eventually landing with the Green Bay Packers in 2022. Over his 3 seasons in Green Bay, Wilson played in 47 games, recording 12 starts during the 2024 season, mainly due to injuries within the Packers linebacker unit. Despite being primarily utilized on special teams for much of his tenure, he stepped up in a bigger role last year, playing 558 defensive snaps out of a total of 714 defensive reps in his time with Green Bay. Wilson's return to Minnesota provides much-needed depth at the linebacker position following the departure of Kamu Grugier-Hill in free agency, with Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr. expected to be the team's primary starters. Wilson will likely slot in as the number 3 linebacker, while also playing a significant role on special teams. His versatility and experience make him a valuable asset for the Vikings, particularly in a system that emphasizes speed and adaptability on defense. During his 3 seasons with the Packers, Wilson accumulated 72 tackles in 2024 alone, including 7 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, an interception, a forced fumble, and 2 sacks. His ability to contribute in multiple facets of the game makes him an ideal fit for Minnesota's defensive scheme. In addition to his defensive impact, Wilson has nearly 2,000 career special teams snaps and was a crucial player in that phase, for Green Bay logging 826 special teams reps over 3 years. One of the key factors in Wilson's return to Minnesota is his familiarity with the team's defensive structure and coaching staff. Having previously played under former head coach Mike Zimmer, Wilson understands the expectations and responsibilities of playing linebacker for the Vikings. While the current coaching regime has implemented new defensive philosophies, his previous experience with the organization should ease his transition back into the system. His time in Green Bay also allowed him to gain insight into a divisional rival's playbook, which could be an added advantage for the Vikings heading into the 2025 season, with Minnesota looking to tighten its defense and improve overall consistency. Wilson's presence could serve as a stabilizing force, particularly in key divisional matchups. Wilson's journey back to the Vikings marks a full-circle moment for the veteran linebacker after going undrafted in 2017 and proving himself as a reliable depth piece and special teams contributor. He now returns with years of experience across multiple NFL teams. His ability to step up when called upon was evident during his 2020 breakout season in Minnesota. and his recent stint in Green Bay further solidified his reputation as a dependable player who can contribute in key moments while Wilson is not expected to be a full-time starter. In Minnesota, his role as a rotational linebacker and special teams ace will be critical for the team's overall depth. His presence will not only provide insurance in case of injuries, but also add leadership and experience to a linebacker core that is undergoing some transition. The Vikings coaching staff values players who can contribute in multiple ways, and Wilson's versatility fits perfectly into that philosophy. Another important aspect of his return is the impact he can have on younger players like Ivan Pace Jr. and Blake Cashman, both of whom are set to play significant roles in the upcoming season. Having a veteran who understands the nuances of the game and has experience in different defensive schemes can be a valuable asset for player development as the Vikings aim to build a more disciplined and effective defense for 2025. As Minnesota continues its offseason roster moves, bringing back a player familiar with the franchise and its culture could prove to be a strategic decision that pays off down the line. With his knowledge of the NFC North Division and his ability to perform in both defensive and special teams roles, Wilson's return is a calculated move that strengthens the Vikings' depth chart and ensures they have a proven contributor ready to step in when needed. Now shifting gears, the Vikings are not just focusing on defense, they are also looking to add explosiveness to their offense, and one name that has surfaced in their free agency plans is a young dynamic wide receiver who could bring a new dimension to Minnesota's passing attack. Stay tuned as we dive into this exciting development. The Minnesota Vikings are not slowing down when it comes to strengthening their roster after making key defensive additions. They are now shifting their focus to the offensive side of the ball, and the latest move has fans eager to see what's next. The team is currently exploring an exciting potential signing that could add a new layer of explosiveness to their passing game. And this young receiver has already shown flashes of brilliance in the NFL. Former Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Rondale Moore is visiting the Vikings as part of his free agency tour. According to reports from the team's official channels, Moore, who was drafted in the second round of the 2021 NFL Draft by the Cardinals, is known for his speed, agility, and playmaking ability despite being just 24 years old. He has already demonstrated his potential as a dynamic offensive weapon, standing at 5'7" and weighing 181 pounds. Moore may not have the ideal size of a prototypical NFL receiver, but what he lacks in height, he makes up for with elite athleticism. His impressive 4.32-second 40-yard dash and explosive ability after the catch make him a threat in open space. His skill set aligns well with head coach Kevin O'Connell's offensive philosophy, which emphasizes versatility and creativity in play. Calling Moore's NFL career began with a strong rookie campaign in 2021 when he recorded 54 receptions for 435 yards and a touchdown. He quickly established himself as a reliable option in Arizona's offense and showcased his ability to make defenders miss in open field. One of his most memorable moments came against the Vikings that season when he caught a 77-yard touchdown pass, helping the Cardinals secure a win over Minnesota. That play alone demonstrated the kind of explosive potential he brings to any team. However, injuries have been a recurring issue for Moore throughout his career. After a promising start, he struggled with availability, missing several games due to various ailments. His 2024 season was completely derailed by a knee injury suffered in August during a joint practice between the Falcons and Dolphins after being traded from Arizona to Atlanta earlier that year now. As he looks for a fresh start, the Vikings are evaluating whether he can be the missing piece in their receiving core. If signed by the Vikings, Moore could step into the role previously held by Brandon Powell, who became a free agent this offseason at just 24 years old. Moore brings youth and upside to the position. While his NFL career has been hindered by injuries, his athletic ability and versatility make him an intriguing option for Minnesota's offense. His ability to line up in the slot, operate in motion, and even contribute as a rusher could provide a valuable dimension to Kevin O'Connell's scheme. One of Moore's standout traits is his ability to generate yards after the catch. In his best season as a rookie, he demonstrated his explosiveness with 435 receiving yards, but his usage evolved over time. In his final year with Arizona, the Cardinals began using him in the running game as well, giving him 28 carries for 178 rushing yards and a touchdown. This hybrid skill set could be particularly useful for the Vikings, who are always looking for creative ways to maximize their offensive weapons. The Vikings currently have 6 wide receivers under contract for the upcoming season, led by Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. While Addison had a strong rookie campaign, the team is still searching for a reliable third option to round out the receiving corps, with Jalen Naylor, Lucky, Jackson Thayer-Thomas, and Jashawn Jones also on the roster. Moore would add depth and competition to the group, but his experience and playmaking ability could give him an edge. Another factor working in Moore's favor is his past performances against the Vikings. In addition to his 77-yard touchdown as a rookie, he recorded 104 total yards and a touchdown against Minnesota in 2022. These flashes of brilliance have given the Vikings first-hand experience of what he is capable of when healthy. Now the team must evaluate whether he can stay on the field consistently and deliver that same level of production over the course of a full season. Another aspect of Moore's game that could appeal to the Vikings is his experience as a return specialist. During his rookie season with the Cardinals, he handled both kickoff and punt return duties, showcasing his ability to make plays in space. While he did not continue in that role, in later seasons, his past experience could provide Minnesota with an additional option on special teams as they look to improve their field position game. Heading into 2025, one of the biggest questions surrounding Moore is his durability despite his talent. His availability has been inconsistent throughout his career, missing significant time due to injuries, including the knee issue that kept him out for the entire 2024 season. Teams around the league recognize his potential, but his health remains a primary concern for any franchise looking to bring him in. The Vikings must weigh the risks and rewards of signing a player with high upside but an uncertain ability to stay on the field. If Minnesota decides to sign Moore, he would bring an element of speed and explosiveness that could complement the team's current offensive weapons. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison are already established playmakers, but adding a dynamic slot receiver like Moore could give the offense another layer of unpredictability. His ability to stretch the field horizontally and create mismatches could open new opportunities for Kirk Cousins or whoever takes over at quarterback. For the Vikings in the near future, Vikings fans, with both Eric Wilson returning to bolster the defense and Rondale Moore potentially joining the offense. How do you feel about the Vikings' moves in free agency so far? Do you think these additions are enough to make the team a serious contender in 2025? Or should the front office keep searching for more talent? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for all the latest updates on your Minnesota Vikings. Thank you for tuning in. Go Vikings!